good morning, everyone. So, as always, if you want to have a prop with you, any props, they can be actual yoga props that you bought at a yoga store, or they can be a pillow or a blanket, anything you need to support your practice this morning. And we'll start seated. So, if you're grabbing some props, you can do that, and then I always say when we first arrive in that first position, you might need to do a little bit of movement, a little bit of rocking, and just start to kind of check in with the body. You can sit up on a pillow or a blanket to elevate the hips. You don't have to have the legs crossed. They can always be out in front of you, even if it's like one leg in front of you, like this. Not worried so much about where limbs are at the moment, but just finding a place where you can start to settle and soften and tune in with your body. And just start to soften the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe wiggle the fingers and toes a little bit. You might feel like you're sitting the spine up nice and tall, but don't sit yourself up so tall that you feel like you're straining anything. So I almost like to make it think like someone is gently tugging me at the top of my head, but then I just kind of soften into it a little bit. So I relax through my spine, relax my muscles. So I'm just letting my back find its natural curve, whatever that is. And then just start to check in with your breath. Just notice and observe your inhales and your exhales. And as always, just being curious, just checking in, notice how your body is feeling. Trying to remove any judgment you might be having about how your body or breath is feeling. And maybe start to settle into some stillness. Feel the breath move in and out, relaxing through the jaw and all the muscles of the face. Just taking a few rounds of breath here, settling in. Let's find two more full rounds of breath, full inhales and full exhales. And you can keep your legs where they're at, or maybe just find a new position with the legs. So if they were crossed, you can always switch the cross, or you can even just extend them out. And then just start to roll the shoulders back. You really exaggerated with that movement. Bring them all the way up to your ears like you're putting them on as earrings, and then rolling them back. And then go the other way, reverse direction. And then relax the shoulders. And when I say relax, I just mean just let them release any effort for staying wherever they are. They're going to stay attached to your body. They're not going to go anywhere. So just see if you can soften a little bit. I know I hold a lot of my tension in my shoulders, so my neck is always really tight, especially if I'm stressed. And then I get a headache. I mean, I'm sure other people have that same experience. So I have to remember all the time to stop bringing my shoulders up to my ears. And then just start to roll out the wrists. Now, do you remember last week that someone requested some joint work? So we're going to do a little bit of everything like we always do, but I'm also going to focus a little bit more on joints. So that's really just kind of exactly what we're doing by rolling the wrist, just adding a little bit of movement. Sometimes the smallest movements are the ones that we need the most often, but also the ones that we often forget to do. Then maybe wiggle the fingers. It's okay if you hear a little snap, crackle, pop. And then change the position of the legs again. It doesn't matter what that change is. Just don't want you to stay in one place. And bring the hands to the tops of the knees or the thighs or the legs, and then just start to round the spine. So think like someone is gently poking you in the belly button. Bring the chin to the chest. Feel like you're trying to create a little bit of space between each vertebra in your back. And then open the heart, look forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So now you're trying to find that expansion in the front of the body. And you can bring your gaze and your neck up as much as is comfortable. I know sometimes the going up too far and then coming back down is not comfortable, so keep the head neutral. And then around the spine. I care more about the movement of the spine here. And open the heart. And we'll do a few more rounds, and you can move at your own pace as you find these seated cat-cows. Use your breath to guide you. One more. And then come back to a neutral spine. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And stretch it really, really tall. Almost feel like you're trying to reach the hands all the way to the ceiling, like you're trying to grab a ladder above you. And then on your exhale, release the arms all the way down and kind of closing that space in the rib cage again, or just letting it come back to its natural set. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Try to create as much space as you can. Reach, reach, reach. And release the arms down. One more. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And then release the arms down. And then just extend your right leg out. So maybe that extend is bringing it out, or if it was already out, bring the left leg in. And it doesn't matter where that right leg sits. It can be a little wide, it can be more in front of you. And then just roll the right foot. Roll the ankle. Be really mindful if you've got any injuries going on. Roll it the other way if you haven't already. Might find snap, crackle, pop. I know mine does. Wiggle the toes. That one's usually a little harder to do. Just adding a little bit of movement, maybe some curling and releasing. And then you can flex the foot if that feels okay, or you can just kind of let it hang out and relax. And it's okay if the foot kind of flops open a little bit. And then just start to rotate the torso towards the left. So you're going to go away from the straight leg. So almost like you're going to fold over the bent knee, but we're actually going to lean to the straight leg. So I'm going to just bring my arm on top of my right leg. And you can always slide some props underneath your arm to bring the floor closer or the leg closer to you. And I want to feel like I'm stretching through the left side of my body. I don't want to bring my hips with me though. So if they start to come with me, I'm going to pause and press them down a bit. If it feels okay on my left shoulder, I can reach the arm up overhead. If it doesn't feel okay, but I want to try something different with the arm, I can bring it around behind my low back. So I have the back of my hand facing my low back and just kind of let it sit. And that sit doesn't have to be all the way to the other hip, right? It can literally be right on the left hip. I just want to feel like I'm creating a little bit of space in this side body. A couple more breaths here. And slowly start to lift yourself up. We're going to keep that angle of the torso towards the left and then bring the hands towards the ground in front of the left knee and feel like we're leaning forward. So again, I don't want my hip to come with me. So if I notice it starts to come, that's my body telling me to pause or take it a step back. Just a few rounds of breath here. Last breath. And nice and slow, start to bring yourself in. Turn the torso back to center. It's okay if you feel a little crooked or a little unbalanced. We're going to do the other side and get balanced. Extend the left leg out and bend the right leg in. And we're going to start with just finding a little snap, crackle, pop on the left ankle so you can roll the ankle. Again, be mindful if you've got anything going on. Roll it the other way. And maybe wiggle the toes. Again, that one's a little bit harder, but you can almost like kind of scrunch the toes like you're going to pick something up with your toes. And again, just like we did before, you can keep the foot flexed, you can relax it. It's totally up to you. You can change your mind halfway through as well. And you're going to rotate the torso towards the right. So it doesn't matter how far you go, but we're just adding a little bit of a twist in the spine. And we'll lean to the straight leg. So you can bring that left arm towards the left leg. Your sides are going to feel totally different. So have some memory loss for that first side. Remember, you can bring in some extra props to bring the floor a little bit closer to you. Maybe you reach the right arm all the way up overhead. Maybe it stays closer to your hip. Maybe it comes towards your lower back. Feeling like you're trying to create the space in the side of the body. Tuning in with your breath. You've taken class with me before, which I think a lot of you have. I love side bends. I often forget kind of doing the side when we're just naturally stretching. And you might be able to feel it, but a lot of what is in the side here is connected to our lower back and can kind of help start to release some of low back tension if we're feeling it or if we've just been sitting all day. One more breath. Slowly start to bring yourself all the way up. And then right away we'll come over the right leg. So again, it doesn't matter how far you go. If the hip starts to come with you, you're going to bring it back. So trying to find as much opportunity as we can to move the spine in all 6 directions that it can go, which is this one where we're folding forward, when we're doing our cat and extending the spine, doing that lateral, so side bending one side and then the other side, and that twisting. So we're doing a little bit of our twisting here, a little bit of the side here, and a little bit of the folding here. One more breath. And then I promise we're going to stop sitting. We've been here for a little while. Slowly start to bring yourself up. Untwist. You can extend the legs, shake them out. Any movement that you want here, any snap, crackle, pops. And just start to make your way into a tabletop position. So it doesn't matter how you get there. So as you arrive on that tabletop position, you can move through some traditional cat-cows. So just like we did when we were sitting, if you want to arch the back and then round it. If staying on your hands is not comfortable, you can always come to your forearms and you'll find the same movement. Then just start to come back to a neutral spine. So again, you can totally be on your forearms for this. And just extend your right leg back and let it float in the air right when you get there. So you might feel yourself go off balance. See if you can bring yourself back. And if it feels okay, extend the left arm forward. So opposite arm, opposite leg. You can always bring the hand down. Really reach through the fingers and toes. It's much harder to be still than it is to move. One more breath. Release everything down. If you want a little cat-cow here, go for it. Always an option. And then we'll do the other side. So extend the left leg back. Right, that's the other side. And then you can stay here or reach the right arm forward. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Reach through the fingers and toes, press the floor away. Feel like someone is gently pressing your belly button or like you're putting your winter coat on or your raincoat. One more breath. And release it all the way down. Welcome to take a little cat-cow here. So you're going to stay in that tabletop position, but you can start to press your hips towards your heels a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of sit my booty back towards my heels. You can always put a pillow or a blanket underneath your hips. And your fingertips right now are pointing forward. But I just want you to, so pretend like you have paint on your hands and you want to get it all over your floor or your mat or whatever you're on. And you're just going to keep lifting the hands up. And I want you to feel like you're rotating the hands. So maybe they're starting to turn out. Maybe they're starting to turn towards you. Maybe they're starting to turn in. So you've got to move the whole arm in order to get this rotation. And I really just want you to kind of lift the hand up and place it back down in a different spot. It might seem like an odd thing to do, but whenever I remember this, I had taken a class and he did this, and I was like, what are we doing? And then I was like, oh, my hands are so tight. And just like the subtle act of just lifting and moving can kind of help find some strength. And if you're feeling a little spicy, and again, be really mindful of your body, maybe you start to turn the back of the hand to the ground. So you place it down, a little stretch, stretching through the back of the wrists. And again, just kind of keep painting the floor with your handprint. Just one more breath. And you're definitely going to want to sit back towards your heels for this one. If you're not already there, bring the hands in a little bit. And you're going to place the back of the hand onto the floor. So I'm going to do my right hand, and I want my right fingertips to point towards my left hand. And I don't want to lean into this. I just want to feel a stretch through the back of my wrist. And I might stay right here. Or I might take my left hand and place the palm on my right hand. Your wrists don't have to be super mobile for this. It really, your body does this naturally. So my heel, like my hands aren't even completely touching, my fingers are, but the heels of my hands aren't. I'm just using my left hand to give it a little bit more pressure. Being really mindful, breathing into the stretch, not trying to remove any limbs, and you're not going to remove any limbs. And last option here is to maybe lean a little bit to the left. So I'm leaning away from my hands. Just one more breath again, really subtle movement, but it might not feel like a subtle stretch. One more breath. Release the hands. Maybe just lift off of them and give them a nice roll. Maybe have to do the other side. I can't let you leave with your hands feeling crooked. So you're going to bring the hands back to the ground. Again, you don't have to have a lot of weight into this. I wasn't putting much weight into it at all. Left hand, back of the hand towards the floor with my fingertips pointing to the left. And in order to do that, I have to kind of rotate my whole arm, right? Like I'm not just trying to rotate the wrist. And our forearm naturally has rotational bones, so that way, so we can do this. And so maybe I'm just staying right here, or maybe I'm bringing my right palm to my left hand. And again, my fingertips are just touching the heels and the palms really aren't touching. And that's okay. My right hand is definitely very tight. I can feel it. Breathing into the stretch. I might stay here or I might lean a little bit to the right. Again, I really don't have to move much. I did move. You might not even have noticed that I did. Breathing into the stretch wherever it's at. Remember, the palms touching is just an option. You can always just have one hand down. Just one more breath. Gently release, come off the hands, roll out the wrists, maybe interlace the hands, and then just kind of do a little rotation, almost like you're going to do a figure eight. Sometimes it also feels really good to just shake them out. All right, we're going to come back to that tabletop position just for a minute. And by a minute, I mean like a second. And start to curl your toes under and press your hips up and back, coming into a downward dog. And you can pedal out the feet, shake out the hips, release the head and the neck. Remember, I say this every time that you take class with me, if that inversion, it just means your heart is above your head, does not feel good, if it makes you feel dizzy or just doesn't make you feel good at all, stay in tabletop position. And maybe just extend the leg back, get a little stretch through the back of the leg, because really that's the only thing you're missing from a tabletop to a down dog, is stretching the back of the leg. Just one more breath wherever you are at. And then just bring the right foot forward. It does not have to be in one step. It can be in 100 steps. And drop the back knee to the floor. And you can slide a pillow or a blanket underneath the back leg for a little added support. And then lift your body up as you sink the hips forward. And maybe you just kind of sink the hips as far forward as they want to go, really pressing into your right foot, really pressing into your back leg. If it feels okay, reach the arms up to the sky. Maybe cactus the arms. Feel like you're about to roll over a beach ball. Know that every time you shift, it's going to shift your balance. One more breath. Reach the arms all the way back up. Bring the hands down. Curl your back toes under. Press your back leg away from the floor. We're not going to step back. You're going to spin the back heel to the ground and open up into a warrior two. I'm just going to turn around so you can still see me. So I'm bending deeply into my front leg, which is my right leg, really rooting into my back foot. My arms are reaching tall. I'm really building the pose from the ground up. So if I feel like my feet aren't steady, then I want to kind of lift out of the pose a little bit, refine that rooting. One more breath. Holding poses is much harder than moving through. Straighten your front leg. Reach the right arm all the way up to the sky. Remember, if it doesn't feel good on your shoulder, you can keep the hand towards your hip. Feel like you're focused on reaching the left hand down the left leg. Come all the way up. Keep the legs straight. Arms into a T. Reach the right hand forward and push the booty back. Right hand down, left arm up to the sky. Again, that left hand can always be on the hip. So you can use the right hand on the right leg for support, but try not to put all of your weight into the leg. Again, I want you to really build the pose from the ground up. So it might mean that you come out of it a little bit. Just one more breath. Press into your feet, rise all the way up. Turn all 10 toes to the side. And just reach the arms out. Think starfish. Take a deep breath. Bring the hands to your hips. Heel toe the feet together or just walk them together. You can turn back towards the top of your mat. Relax the arms, relax the shoulders. Check in with your breath. One more. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Hinge at your hips. Come halfway down. You can find a little squat. You know, if you don't like inversions, you're gonna stay here. If you're okay, then you can fold all the way over the legs. Place the hands to the ground, and you'll come back to your down dog. So you can always kind of just crawl your way back towards the table, step the feet back, down dog or tabletop. There are a couple of options. One more breath. Left foot comes forward. Again, it doesn't matter how many steps it takes to get there, but you'll drop the back knee down. Bring your whole self up. Arms can reach to the sky if that feels okay. It's okay to be wobbly. Your sides are going to be different. Maybe cactus the arms. Open the heart. You know, it's going to shift your balance. Reach the arms up to the sky. Hands towards the ground. Curl the back toes under. Press the back leg away from the floor. Spin the back heel down. Press into the feet to rise up to your warrior two. So trying to bend as deeply as you can into your front knee. Doesn't matter how deep that is. Using your breath, building the pose from the ground. Really find that strong rooting through the feet. Straighten your front leg. Left arm reaches up to the sky. Focus on sliding the right leg arm down the right leg. Doesn't matter where that left arm is. Stretching through the side body. Neck and gaze is wherever is comfortable. One more breath. Come back up. Reach the left hand forward and down. Right arm up or to your hip. Keep finding that foundation in your feet. One more. Press into your feet, rise all the way up. Turn all 10 toes to the side. Arms out wide. Think starfish. Release the arms, walk the feet back together. You can roll out the ankles here, maybe just kind of shake them out. We're gonna play a little bit with some balance here, as we often do. If you wanna have something to support you, you can come near a wall, or I've got my handy bookshelf right next to me. Something, or a chair, something that's not moving like an animal, like your pet, not a random animal. So I'm gonna bring my right hand to hold on to something if that's what I want right here. And then I'm gonna shift the weight into my left foot. So I'm lifting up the leg that's closest to my support. And then I'm just gonna kind of roll the leg around. Feel like I'm moving that leg bone in the hip socket and trying to find some circles. So it might start in front of me. Maybe it comes down a little bit, like I'm stirring something on the ground with my knee. And then I'll go the other direction. I want to make this movement as big as I possibly can. It's okay if I have a little rotation happening as I do this. You're going to feel that standing leg working, holding you up for balance, but then we're also just getting our hip joint moving a bit. And then you can shake out the leg, release it down. We're going to stay on the side. You're going to kick your heel to your butt and release it down. So I'm still just moving my right leg. I'm just bending through the knee. Like every time I kick the heel up, I'm getting closer and closer to my booty. And the foot can be flexed or it can be pointed. It will change the sensation. So it's kind of interesting to play with both and see what it feels like. I feel like the effort changes a little bit as well. Just one more. Shake the leg out. Shake my standing leg out. Feel that left side working that strength, and then the right side we were working on just some mobility. So you're going to turn around, especially if you're holding on to something for support, or if you just want it there to catch you if you need it. I'm not going to, because otherwise you won't be able to see me. And then this time you're going to lift your left leg and then find the same thing. Find some circles. I can feel that hip was working on the other side. So breaking up a little bit of that. Trying to find my biggest range of motion here. Maybe there's a little snap, crackle, pop. Be mindful of that. As long as it doesn't hurt, it's okay. Maybe I feel like the knee's trying to point down a little bit more. So just kind of shifting the way that I'm rotating. And then be sure to go the other direction. And release it down, shake it out. And then just heel to butt. So same side, lifting it up and down. Maybe the foot is flexed. Maybe it's pointed. Maybe you're changing between the two. Just feel like you're trying to get closer and closer to your booty. One more. And release the leg down. Shake them both out. Wiggle. Let it all go. And then let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Go really tall and long. And release the arms down. One more just like that. Reach the arms all the way up. And release them down. Roll the shoulders. Let's add a little movement of the neck before we come down to the ground. So just start to let your left ear come to your left shoulder. Just let the head be nice and heavy here. And then bring your head back to center and over to the other side. Then bring your head back to center, and you'll start to make your way all the way onto your back. So if there's anything you need on the way there, go for it. We're going to be here for the rest of class. So if you know you like to have extra props for Shavasana, just make sure they're nearby so you don't have to get up again. And as you come onto your back, you can take whatever you need when you get there. Maybe just take a few moments to just settle in, feel your back body connect to the floor. And placing your feet on the ground if they aren't already there, so the knees are pointing up to the sky. And walk your feet as wide as your mat. If you're not on a mat and you're just on carpet like I am, I'm just going to bring my feet a little bit wider than my hips. And then just start to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And I can bring the hips into the movement. It's okay if that opposite hip is lifting. And the next time my knees are over to the right, I'm going to pause. So I can add some props underneath my right leg if I want. You can add props underneath your left leg, though it's just a little bit harder to arrange, especially when you're by yourself. If for any reason you're experiencing any pain in that left knee with this internal rotation, you can always just extend the leg out. So you can keep the right leg open and then just extend the left leg out. Arms can be wherever's comfortable. We're not going to be here for too long. So one more breath here. Let the knees come all the way back up. You can go over to the left side right away, or if you like the little rock, the little windshield wiper before you pause, you can find that. And when you're ready, coming to the left side, the sides are going to feel different, adding or removing any props, adjusting your right leg as needed. Just a couple more rounds of breath. More. Bring yourself all the way up. By yourself, I mean your legs. Any other movements here? Maybe bringing the knees into the chest. And give yourself a little rock, a little massage of the lower back. And taking any final movements that your body craves this morning. Well, it can just be staying in a rock. Maybe you come into a happy baby and reach for the tops of the feet or even just behind the legs. And starting to set yourself up for your final Shavasana. So that final Shavasana can be on your back, it can be on your side. You can throw your legs up on something. And just finding a place where your body can soften, where your body can let go. Not have so much effort holding you wherever you are. So using these last few moments of class to be in complete and total gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. And slowly starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Wiggling fingers and toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. Rocking your head from side to side. When you're ready, starting to make your way onto your side if you're not already there. And eventually making your way into a comfortable seat. There's no rush. If you want to stay where you are, stay where you are. As long as you don't have anywhere to be. If you do, I slowly encourage you to start to get up. And you can bring your hands to your heart center, keeping the focus inside. Thanking yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, your energy, your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.